everyone, a very good evening and a very warm welcome to the session. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fine and amazingly well, taking good care of yourselves and your loved ones. बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका आज के सेशन में. सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, bonjour, आदाब. Let's get started with our session of the making of the global world. However, this entire chapter is not going to be in the part of the syllabus which is going to be assessed for your board examinations. But I keep reiterating at the beginning of every session that it is in fact important for us because guys, हमारे लिए इम्पॉर्टेंट ये इसलिए है क्योंकि ये आपको बाकी चैप्टर्स में काफ़ी हेल्प करेगा. ठीक है, और it will be very helpful in writing answers, making sense of the making of nationalism in India, age of industrialization. कई सारी जगहों पे आपको बहुत हेल्प लगेगी इस चैप्टर की. Plus in general, being aware about your world economics and world history and how are we where we are at this very moment, how did we get here, all of these things will become very clear for you once you actually read this chapter. So that is why it's really important. So we'll be covering the entire thing. So let's begin. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's get started. We'll start with a recap, but before that, let's have a quick introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Ankana and I am your expert for social sciences at Imbibe. And I come with an experience of more than 10 years in the field of education, wherein I've taught the students both online and offline. And I have done my studies in the field of humanities, hence I specialize in English and social sciences. ठीक है, तो ये छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन मेरे बारे में था. अब चैप्टर के बारे में मैंने आपको बताया है पहले भी, अगर आपने बाकी वीडियोस देखे हैं तो. जस्ट इन केस नहीं देखी हैं तो मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि इस चैप्टर में हम बेसिकली ये समझ रहे हैं कि कैसे हमारी ग्लोबलाइजेशन, जो हम जिस दुनिया में आज रहते हैं, वेयर द वर्ल्ड इज सो इंटरकनेक्टेड, what led to that, how did that happen, was it always like this, was there a progression? All these questions are going to be answered in this session and with this chapter, not in this session, with this chapter. So we'll start with a quick recap. हमने एक्चुअली रिंडो पेस्ट जो है वो पिछले सेशन में फिनिश नहीं किया था, तो रिंडो पेस्ट वाला पोर्शन हम आज करेंगे. पिछले सेशन में हमने ज़्यादातर ये डिस्कस किया था कि कैसे लोग जो है वो स्प्रेड कर रहे थे अपने कोलोनाइजेशन को, कैसे वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी बदल रही थी. तो हमने ये देखा कि 19th सेंचुरी के पहले यूरोप जो है वो काफ़ी पॉवर्टी में रहता था, काफ़ी हंगर स्ट्रिकन था. लेकिन धीरे धीरे टुवर्ड्स द 19th सेंचुरी, एज द इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन स्टार्टेड इन द लेट 18th सेंचुरी इन मोस्ट ऑफ द पार्ट्स एंड स्पेशली इन ब्रिटेन, कोलोनाइजेशन, इम्पीरियलिज्म जैसी चीज़ें शुरू हो गई थी, जिसकी वजह से ये जो कंट्रीज थी अब दूसरे देशों के रिसोर्सेज को यूटिलाइज कर रही थी अपने आप को एम्पावर करने के लिए, विच वॉज इम्प्रूविंग द सिचुएशन ड्रास्टिकली इन यूरोप. एंड उसकी वजह से सोसाइटी ट्रांसफॉर्म होने लग जाती है, एक्सटर्नल रिलेशंस चेंज होने लग जाते हैं, वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी, वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स सब कुछ चेंज करने लग जाता है. इसमें 3 मेजर फ्लोज के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था, ट्रेड के, गुड्स के और कैपिटल के. फिर हमने देखा कि फूड प्रोडक्शन में कॉर्न लॉस की वजह से कैसे चेंजेस आए थे एंड हाउ अबॉलिशिंग द कॉर्न लॉ इन फैक्ट हेल्प्ड ब्रिटेन to grow further ahead and improve the standard of living and consumption of the people in the society, in the country. And all the countries like some Russia या फिर Eastern European countries, America, Australia, इन सब ने अपने डिमांड्स इन सब ने अपना प्रोडक्शन बहुत बढ़ा दिया था ब्रिटेन की डिमांड को फुलफिल करने के लिए. ब्रिटेन वाज नॉट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एनीथिंग ऑफ इट्स ओन इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्रॉप्स एंड ऑल. इसी के साथ साथ हम देखते हैं कि इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन काफ़ी ग्रो करती है, टेक्नोलॉजी इसमें बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करती है. रेलवेज के आने से जो कनेक्शन है पोर्ट्स के बीच में, एग्रीकल्चरल रीजन और इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ इंक्रीज हो जाती है और इसकी वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी बढ़ती है, विच इम्प्रूव्स द सिचुएशन नॉट जस्ट इन यूरोप बट अदर प्लेसेस ऑल्सो जहाँ प्रोडक्शन बढ़ रही थी. हम देखते हैं यूरोप से अमेरिका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया बहुत ज़्यादा माइग्रेशन होता है. करीब 15 करोड़ लोग कहा जाता है कि इस वक्त अराउंड इस टाइम पे माइग्रेट कर रहे थे अपने घरों से, चाहे वो सेम कंट्री में हो, एक मतलब होता है ना विलेज से सिटी की तरफ, या अलग अलग कंट्रीज में हो, बट देयर वर मल्टीपल लाइक करोड्स ऑफ पीपल हु वर मूविंग इन एंड आउट. और इसी वजह से 1890s में एक नया ग्लोबल एग्रीकल्चरल इकोनॉमी जो है वो टेक प्लेस करता है, जिसमें अलग अलग जगह के लेबर्स, कैपिटल्स, सब कुछ इन्वॉल्व था, बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रेडिंग इन्वॉल्व थी, ठीक है। And we see that eventually people had started developing these large farms, जहाँ पे उन जगहों पे जहाँ पे पहले फॉरेस्ट हुआ करता था, और उन फॉरेस्ट को क्लीन करके कल्टीवेशन अब वहाँ करना शुरू कर दिया जाता है उन क्रॉप्स का, जिनसे प्लांटेशंस, जिनसे आपकी बेसिकली ट्रेडिंग होती थी, ठीक है। और इनको उन जगहों पे भी जहाँ पे आपका ट्रेडिंग, आई मीन इन जनरल कल्टीवेशन नहीं हुआ करता था, बिकॉज क्यों नहीं हुआ करता था, ड्राई रीजन थे, सेमी एरिड रीजन था, जैसे कि इंडिया में ही मान सकते हैं हम, पंजाब वाला रीजन था। इन सब जगहों पे भी ब्रिटिशर्स ने या जो भी उनकी इंपीरियल पावर्स थी, उन्होंने इरिगेशन फैसिलिटीज़ बेटर लगा करके, कनाल्स बना करके, इन सारी चीज़ों की मदद से पानी पहुंचा दिया, तो वहाँ पे इरिगेशन कर पाना, कल्टिवेशन कर पाना काफ़ी बेहतर हो गया था। जैसे कि हम देखते हैं कि कॉटन का प्रोडक्शन इंडिया में बहुत प्रमोट किया जाता है, क्योंकि टेक्सटाइल के लिए बहुत डिमांड में था। पंजाब में कनाल कॉलोनीज बनाए जाते हैं, और सारे जगह जगह के फार्मर्स को इंकरेज किया जाता है कि वो वहाँ आकर रहें, इवन इन द ड्राइस्ट रीजन्स, बिकॉज वहाँ पे कनाल्स की मदद से ये पॉसिबल हो पा रहा था। टेक्नोलॉजी ये भी एक तरीके से अलग अलग टेक्नोलॉजीज हमने और देखी, जैसे हमने देखा कि बेटर रेलवेज या लार्जर शिप्स की वजह से पीपल वर एबल टू ट्रांसपोर्ट थिंग्स वेरी मच ईजिली। जैसे रेफ्रिजरेटेड शिप्स के आने की वजह से पहले जहाँ यूरोप में पुअर के लिए मीट एक्सेस करना बहुत मुश्किल था, क्योंकि अमेरिका से लाइव एनिमल्स भेजे जाते थे जो यूरोप में स्लॉटर किए जाते थे, वो बहुत एक्सपेंसिव होता था, क्योंकि एनिमल्स आने में मर जाते थे, उनको मेंटेन करना, टाइम, सब कुछ बहुत एक्सपेंसिव पड़ता था। सो इट वाज एन luxurious item. But with the refrigerated ships coming into the picture, it helped animals already being slaughtered and then being transported to Europe, जो उसको खराब होने से भी बचाती थी, कम जगह में ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी आ पाती थी, और इसकी वजह से उसका प्राइस घट जाता है। और अब पुअर पीपल ऑल्सो कुड, अपार्ट फ्रॉम जस्ट द मंडेन bread and potato and vegetables, could now have access to eggs and butters and meat etc, right? फिर हमने देखा कि लेट 19th सेंचुरी की तरफ, यानी कि लेट 1800s में अफ्रीका पे भी ऑफकोर्स कोलोनाइजेशन के लिए बहुत फाइट चल रही थी। और अफ्रीका को अगर आप देखोगे तो बॉर्डर्स बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट लाइंस की तरह दिखती है, बिकॉज इन 1885 बर्लिन में एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ जहाँ पे सारे यूरोपियन पर्डे पावर्स आए, और उन्होंने आपस में डिसाइड किया कि वो अफ्रीका के कौन से हिस्से को लेंगे, और उसके बेसिस पे उन्होंने डिविजन किया था। ब्रिटेन और फ्रांस ने काफ़ी बड़े एडिशंस लिए थे, मतलब पहले से उनके पास था और टेरिटरी, और उसमें काफ़ी एडिशंस कराए थे। बेल्जियम और जर्मनी ने भी लिया था। यूएस भी 1890s में एक बड़ा चंक लेकर के जाता है, जो कि पहले स्पेन का हुआ करता था। बट ऑल ऑफ दिस विल एक्चुअली रिजल्ट इन ह्यूज डिस्ट्रक्शन, एंड वी विल सी इन टुडेज सेशन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ डिस्ट्रक्शन फॉर द पीपल ऑफ अफ्रीका. We also saw that how Sir Henry Morton Stanley was sent to Central Africa to basically explore everything. It was not to identify that what could be better and feasible in order to have like a good lifestyle for the citizens over there. But the primary idea was to basically find those places where imperial projects could have been executed by taking the help of the local, leaders, and moving the local hunters and tribes, and mapping different regions so that he could pass on the information to these people in there. ठीक है? Okay. Okay, great. So with this, we'll move on. These are the things that we have done in the previous session. Now we'll move on and talk about what was Rinderpest and what happened in Africa. So we've basically done till here, 1885, Belgium, Germany, and the US, what they did. All of these sections have been done. We'll begin from here. So let's get started. And I hope that you guys have done some pre-read before this session. Just let me know. And a quick reminder I wanted to give you guys about the new batch launches. Bache, we have launched already 2 batches, which has been on your 12th of April and 20th of May. Now new batches have come up on 19th of June, and one will also be on 17th of July. So just in case any of your friends have been looking forward to, or you yourself have to, want to take forward the subscription Imbibe Simple, then Akshay sir is going to take science. I'll be doing social science, and Vishal sir pura maths padhayenge. We'll be doing all the sessions as live Pre-post class activities will be there for each and every class. We'll be having proper tests. So we'll be having midterm revisions, final revisions, full length tests where the feedbacks will be given to you 24/7. आपका doubt resolution provided होगा. In class 10th, we always wonder if we need reference books or would just NCERT be enough. So I keep reiterating it every time that just NCERT is enough. But of course, once you have finished NCERT in and out and you feel that no, I need more details, I want more depth in this, then what you have to do is just make sure that instead of going ahead and buying with the subscription, you have electronic books available on the website itself. Explore those. If you still want a physical book, कोई problem नहीं है यार, पहले एक बार electronic book explore करके देख लो. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि yeah, this is very relevant for me, then please go ahead with that, right? And then you have already mapped with your entire syllabus more than 2,000 videos, which means even if you want to learn something way in advance which has not been taught in your school in the Imbibe Live classes, you can go ahead, watch these videos. These are beautiful 3D animated videos which gives you immense amount of knowledge and understanding, and the detailing that is there, it's just as good as living it yourself, the knowledge, the concepts, and it'll be very, very interesting to learn from there. The amount of practice questions that's there, because what is going to set a difference between your preparation and the preparation of the rest of the students is going to be the amount of practice that you have. 10th में answer writing skill को build करना, articulation को build करना, and the approach that you take for the questions, that is the most important part. The more PYQs, more practice, more tests you take, the better would be your preparation, and this is what is going to set you apart from the rest of the students, you guys. Okay? So the price points are very nominal. 499 per month if you go ahead with a 1-year batch. 3 months के साथ जाते हो तो 599 per month, and if you just take 1 month batch then 699. There's consistently some or the other offer going on in the first few days where you can get offers on both annual and quarterly packages. But just in case if it's not there, at that point in time, you can use Achieve 15 for this to avail the discount and Achieve 20 for this to avail the discount. And that's how awesome it is. On top of these basic prices, you get furthermore discount. And the best part is that it's a single subscription that we are talking about. What do we mean by single subscription? You are not just subscribing to the batch of class 10th. If you have any siblings or any friends that you who are in a different grade, who are preparing for some different exam, and you always end up buying different subscriptions from different places, with this price, everything that Imbibe has to offer, you will be able to access, including the applications, Imbibe Blends, lab experiments for parents, everything. But दूसरे class की भी पढ़ाई अगर आपको करनी है, you want to prepare from different grades also, that is going to be okay. Okay, and when you actually attend the session with proper completion of pre and post class activities, then the difference that it creates is of 12.62% in the understanding and in the test results of that particular topic. That is how cool this is, and that is why I keep on recommending this to you. Okay. Great. So now what are we going to do today? आज हम क्या करने वाले हैं? So as I told you, Making of Global World is the chapter. हमने ग्लोबलाइजेशन द प्री मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड वी हैव फिनिश्ड कर लिया है. शेपिंग ऑफ वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी इज पार्टली लेफ्ट. ठीक है, a part of it is still left, so we'll have some extra sessions also wherein you don't have to worry, we'll divide it properly and finish it up, and we will do a little bit of introduction of the inter-war economy, which means when the wars began, how did the economy change then, because very well we know that these imperial countries, ठीक है, ये जो imperialism हो रहा है, the imperialism that is on peak at the 19th century, where all these countries, European countries, are spreading their reach in different parts of the world. At one point, this competition will grow so intense that they will be on the war, which will result in the First World War. Okay, so we have had an idea about this in the Rise of Nationalism in Europe. थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ते हैं और देखते हैं आगे फिर क्या होगा. और वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 की इकोनॉमी के बारे में तो कैसे रीबिल्ड किया हमने उसके बाद, ये हम any which ways इस चैप्टर के एंड में पढ़ेंगे. बट टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट सम इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस, बट प्राइमरली विल टॉक अबाउट रिंडरपेस्ट. ठीक है, रिंडरपेस्ट एंड हाउ डिड द लाइफ ऑफ अफ्रीकन्स चेंज एंड गॉट इम्पैक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रिंडरपेस्ट, and all of this, how is it related to imperialism, what happened, what led to it. ठीक है, And then, if possible, we'll also look at the crisis that the wars led to, and what was the transformation that happened in the economy with the First World War. Now, if you want to bring your books to life, imbibe lens is your key. You guys already know we start with these basic questions. तो आपको ये बताना है what disease had devastating effect on Africa livelihood in 1890s. I've already given you the name even in the index, so you can easily guess it from there. Malaria, smallpox, rinderpest, cholera. वो कौन सा वायरस था, कौन सी डिजीज थी जिसने इम्पैक्ट बहुत ही गहरा किया था अफ्रीका के लाइवलीहुड पे 1890s में? Which disease are we talking about? So the correct answer would be rinderpest. Rinderpest था वो जो cattles में spread होता है, ठीक है? तो moving on to the next question. How did European employees in Africa address the labor shortage for plantations and mines? They increased the wages, imposed heavy taxes on changing inheritance laws, importing labor from Europe, or offering better working conditions. So we'll actually be dwelling into the depth of these questions today. So just in case if you are a bit confused and not 100% sure about what to answer, you don't have to worry. You'll be able to fix it after today's session, I mean. And the correct answer would be they were imposing heavy taxes and they were also changing the inheritance laws by which they would force people to join as the labor. You'll see how. Finally, what was the main destination of Indian endangered labor migrants in the 19th century? ज्यादातर हमारे इंडिया के जो लेबर्स थे वो कहाँ जा रहे थे 19th सेंचुरी में? अपना इंडेंजर्ड लेबर कौन है बच्चे? हमने नेशनलिज्म इन इंडिया में भी पढ़ा है. इंडेंजर्ड लेबर वो लोग हैं जो बेसिकली, sorry, there must have been some disturbance by mistake. I had stepped, I mean, I put something on the mic. हाँ जी, इंडेंजर्ड लेबर जो आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल लेबरर्स थे. Again, this is associated with the discovery of America. Okay, and the correct answer would be the Caribbeans. ठीक है? चलो, perfect. Now moving on. It was 1914. 1914 is where in Sarajevo, Bosnia, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, who will be Archduke Franz Ferdinand, he will be assassinated and gunshots will echo the streets. The heir of the empire and his wife will be dead. And the gunshot was just the beginning of the most devastating event that was to happen in the history of the world, which will lead to the great war that the world had never seen before. The devastation and the horrifying scenario that people had never witnessed before. But how it happened, what led to it? Let's dwell in the session and understand. So we'll start with Africa. So बच्चे अफ्रीका में हमें समझ आ गया आफ्टर 1885 basically the redistribution of Africa was done between the European powers where you have seen that in Berlin people had met and done the division. Germany, Britain, France, Belgium, US, everyone had taken their share. Now, what happens over here is, let me give you a bit of context. If you guys remember last year, you guys have read about this chapter called Pastoralists in the Modern World. पढ़ाई है. Pastoralists in the Modern World में we had specifically read about the case of the pastoralists in Africa. Africa में इन सारे लोगों के साथ क्या हुआ? So we saw that because of the colonization, the regular, like most of the people, 80% of the population over there, especially in the Masai Mara and all those lands, हम ये देखते हैं कि मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल वो डिपेंडेंट ऑन पैस्टरलिज्म. ज्यादा मतलब मेजर जनता जो है वो क्या कर रही है? ऑल ऑफ देम वर एसोसिएटेड विद दिस एक्टिविटी. विद द कोलोनाइजेशन इट ऑफ कोर्स क्रिएटेड अ प्रॉब्लम. नाउ व्हाट वाज द चैलेंज दैट द colonizers were facing? See, whenever you move somewhere, for example, when the Britishers moved to India, and the colonizer could be any country, it doesn't matter that they had to be Britisher, कि Britisher है तभी problem होगी. No, it could be anyone. जब भी colonizers कहीं मूव करते हैं, they start new processes of production, especially agricultural production or building up of railways, anything that could help them build their economy with the help of this colonized country. Now, when they are doing this, when they are moving to these places and when they are trying to increase the production, one thing that very commonly will be observed is that they'll be constantly in demand of a lot of labor to do all these jobs. Because obviously people from their countries wouldn't be coming in to actually fill in the places and suffice the shortage that is there of the labors. If you remember French Revolution, maybe this is exactly what we had discussed. यही पढ़ा था हमने that there was shortage of labors. That is why slavery and that too from Africa had started. Slavery वहीं से इसी वजह से शुरू हुई थी. But when Britishers came to countries like India, there were a lot of Indians who were ready to take the employment and work for them, and that is also what helped them sustain. ये हमने nationalism in India में भी पढ़ा है. Why did we start non-cooperation? We started non-cooperation because we were cooperating with the Britishers. हम उनकी मदद कर रहे थे. We were working for them, and that is what had really helped them, last here for so long in India. But in places like Africa, because most of the people were associated with activities like pastoralism, which had got nothing to do with colonization, वो अपना आराम से अपने जानवरों को ग्रेजिंग कराते थे, उससे अपना प्रोडक्ट्स निकालते थे, used to run their livelihood, all of that they used to do, right? So now what happens, because most of the people are associated with this activity, when these European powers reach Africa, they wouldn't have people to work for them, for the construction, for the railway, for the trading, for the agriculture. All of this, it will be very difficult because the rest of the people are not going to come and support them because they have sorry guys, one second, I'm just yeah. Because they had a method of earning their livelihood. ठीक है, उनके पास एक तरीका था अपने livelihood को earn कर पाने का, अपने जीवन को चला पाने का, अपने खर्चों को चला पाने का, which was very much dependent on the pastoralists, right? It was not just that. जैसे इंडिया में क्या था, पैस्टरलिज्म इतना ज्यादा कॉमन नहीं था. पीपल वर डिपेंडेंट ऑन लुकिंग फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, सो दे एंडेड अप वर्किंग फॉर द ब्रिटिशर्स. बट इफ दे हैड, लेट्स जस्ट से दैट दे डिड हैव अ सिस्टम वेयर दे कुड जनरेट देयर मनी एंड livelihood all by themselves, then even we wouldn't, or our people also wouldn't have been dependent on these Britishers, right? But it was not the case. India mein, we saw that people needed jobs, but Africa mein, they had their pastoralism which would keep them going on. तो किसके लिए problem create हो जाएगी? It will be the European powers who will be facing problems because the people are able to run their livelihood. They do not need the Europeans, but the Europeans needed them to basically do all of the production that they wanted to, and hence generate the money and the capital that they had gone there with the idea of. So this is the context. ये context वापस आगे थोड़ी दूर में फिर से repeat होता है, ठीक है? But I wanted to set it before because it helps us understand that it gives a motive to the Africans to do, it gives a motives to the Europeans to do something about it in order to create labor and kind of destroy the system that was existent for these people, for the Africans, okay? So 1890s mein what happens, all of a sudden a disease hits the nation, Africa, take it hits the place. And it is not a plague which is going to kill humans. It's a virus which only and crazily spreads among the cattle, which means the animals of all the pastoralists and otherwise also. तो एक बहुत ही एंड इट वुड स्प्रेड लाइक अ वाइल्ड फायर, लाइक अ फॉरेस्ट फायर, विच मीन्स इट स्प्रेड really really fast and quick. So very fast spreading disease of the cattle plague, of the rinderpest. It had a very very bad effect, very very terrifying effect on the life of the people and definitely the local economy, because this economy was dependent on these animals, right? Everyone used to determine their livelihood and get it based on these animals, and this is a very very big example of how and the losses that the impact losses and effect of the imperial power on the colonized societies, and how did they not care about it, and it only made things easy for them. उनके लिए जीवन बहुत आसान हो गया, उन्हें जो चाहिए था वो मिल गया, लेकिन सफर कौन कर रहे हैं? The suffering was all of the localites whose lives were turned upside down. So ये एक era है जहाँ पे हमें पता है that people just wanted to have conquests, right? It doesn't matter if the disease is affecting the cattle or whatever, it only helped the powers to gain more control. And however, the fortune, the money, and the fate of thousands of people were tossed completely, and their relation will also be altered completely with the rest of the world. So we see that Africa, as I told you, is a land which is huge in area, but the population is very very small, and that has always been the case, you guys. ठीक है, हमेशा से ऐसा रहा है कि बड़ी सी जमीन पे बड़ी छोटी सी population रहती है अफ्रीका में. Not just that, it is a land which is blessed with a lot of natural resources, various kinds of plants, animals, land, livestock. Now, what do we mean by livestock? When we use the term livestock, we are basically referring to the cattle, the animals, all of these things that used to exist back there then. Okay, so livestock से हमारा मतलब है the animals which could be petted, which could be breeded and reared as their own. ठीक है, not the wild animals we are talking about. So livestock would be something which provides you in running your livelihood, which gives you a profit, like cattle, goats, cows, buffaloes. All of these are examples. Camels, all of these are examples of your livestock. So as I told you that most of the people over here were pastoralists. They had a huge bunch of livestock जिसके साथ वो अपनी livelihood run करते थे, and that is why they did not need any other jobs. They had a lot of land available. Land used to provide with them with a lot of these resources, which was plants and food and grass. So everything was pretty sorted and structured for the people of Africa. उनके लिए जिंदगी बहुत आराम से चल रही थी, बहुत क्लियर था कि क्या चाहिए था और कैसे मैनेज करना था for them. ठीक है, तो अफ्रीकन लाइवलीहुड जो है वो बहुत आराम से चल रही थी. Rarely they used to go ahead and take jobs which had to pay them in terms of wages, which means rarely did they used to find people who would want to work in a place where they were given wages, where they wanted to work for like services where they were being paid. Late 19th century में क्या होता है that Africa was not producing everything. Industrialization was not at peak in Africa. Africa में बिल्कुल भी industrialization नहीं थी. So it was just a land which was full of natural resources, raw materials and everything, which was going to help a lot to the imperial countries. It was going to be of a great benefit to the imperial countries. ठीक है? So Africa में हम देखते हैं that there were very few consumer goods that wages could buy. Even the lifestyle was such. For example, if you have land, if you have livestock, you're good to go. You don't need anything. You don't need like, oh, I want more clothes, I want machines, and I want this, and I want that. That in itself was considered like a good standard of living. ठीक है? तो Europeans, we know because of the vast resources, were attracted to this land for the minerals, for the diamonds, for the labor, if nothing else, right? So they came with the hope that they will establish huge plantations, mineral ores, mines, and produce tons of crops and minerals out of these, metals out of these, that they will be able to export to Europe and earn a lot of profit. But labor was never willing there, labor was never available there, and that became like a very, very big challenge for these people. So a lot of times you'll find that employers, people who needed labor, they would try to entice these people by recruiting them, retaining them, putting something on the line to attract them. ठीक है, लेकिन people would not listen. ठीक है, in fact, a lot of taxes in order to change this setup. They thought that we'll have to change the administration, we'll have to change the rules and regulations. So heavy taxes were also being imposed. भर भर के टैक्स क्या कर दिया इन्होंने, लगाना शुरू कर दिया. किसके ऊपर लगाना शुरू कर दिया? So they started imposing these huge taxes for the people. What do you say? Yeah, heavy taxes they started imposing in such a way that if you are just working as a pastoralist, you wouldn't be earning so much that you'll be able to pay these taxes. If you wanted to pay these taxes, you would have to work as a wage worker. Only then you will be able to make that kind of money where you will be able to pay the wages, pay the taxes, and be there, get through. Okay. साथ ही साथ जो लॉ थे इनहेरिटेंस के, वो इनहेरिटेंस के लॉज को भी चेंज कर दिया गया था. इनहेरिटेंस लॉज मीन्स व्हाट? इफ मी एंड माय हस्बैंड हैव अ चाइल्ड एंड इफ वी डाई, देन ऑल द प्रॉपर्टी, लेट्स से, ऑफ माय हस्बैंड एंड दैट आल्सो इज माइन will go to them. So this is inheritance, that who will take the ownership once it is transferred from one generation to the other generation. Now normally क्या होता था, because there were these huge lands, people would pass it on to their डिसेंडेंट्स. जो भी आगे उनका नया जनरेशन आ रहा है उसको पास ऑन कर देते थे. बट उस पे भी these guys started imposing a lot of taxes and changes and punishments so that the land would directly from generation 1 to generation 2 would not be possible to transfer. ठीक है, so that the peasants would also get displaced from the land. The land could start being belonging to the European powers. So the law clearly said that only one member of the family will be able to inherit the land. Why are they doing this? As I told you, bache, they used to have huge chunks of land. Let's say I, as a very small pastoralist, have 10 acres of land and I have 3 children. Or let's say 15 acres of land and I have 3 children. Now you can imagine, I would normally divide 5 acres of land to each of them. Now it's going to be very easy for them to even survive on 5 acres of land. That's like a lot. But what will happen as a result of this? None of them are now going to try and find out job. They'll be happy with their 5 acre of land, with the livestock that I would have given them. Let's say I had 150 cows and buffaloes and goats. So मैंने वो भी 50-50 सब में बांट दिया. 50-50 I divided amongst them. So now what will happen? They have no reason to go and find work out. So what these European administration were trying to do, that if you have 3 children, it doesn't matter, you pick any one and only that one child will inherit all your properties. The other 2 cannot inherit it. That's a restriction that they were putting. Now, is this fair? It is my property. I get to decide it. What do I do with it? Whether I want to give it to my one child or all the children or none of them. But they were interfering. They were putting in such, laws into the policies into the place, ताकि ये हो सके कि जब सबको जमीन नहीं मिलेगी, naturally when everyone is not getting a piece of the property, they will, in order to survive, have to work as a labor. ठीक है. Plus इसके साथ साथ they also saw that mine workers को confine कर दिया गया था compounds में. They were not even allowed to move freely. So they were doing multiple things to just capture the people to be able to work for them. And then hits the Rinderpest in the 1880s to 1890s. Now, how does this virus reach you? If you remember, I told you कि अमेरिका या ऐसे कई सारे कंट्रीज थे जहां से मीट जो है कट करके जाया करता था, ट्रांसपोर्ट हुआ करता था, द फ्रोजन फूड टू द डिफरेंट लैंड्स. सिमिलरली ब्रिटिश एशिया में क्या मतलब, ब्रिटेन का जो एशिया का जो ब्रिटिश कोलोनाइज्ड पोर्शन था, द पोर्शन ऑफ एशिया विच वाज अंडर द कॉलोनी ऑफ द ब्रिटिशर्स, वहां से एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ दीज मीट्स यूज्ड टू हैपन टू फीड द soldiers who were from Italy. So Italian soldiers को feed करने के लिए in East Africa. So from your British Asia, the food would come, the meat would come to feed the Italian soldiers in Africa. Now, one of these times, while all of this exportation was happening, it turned out that one of those cattle which may have been slaughtered was infected. वो जो मीट आ रहा था वो उनमें से एक में इन्फेक्शन था. अब एक में इन्फेक्शन चाहिए थी. It would spread like wildfire, like how COVID spread and destroyed everything for us in the year of 2020. Similarly, just like forest fire, all these animals, I mean, like one had it, the next day you see 10 have it, third day you see hundreds of them have it. It was exponentially just spreading like crazy, right? एंड इतना ज्यादा बच्चे कि अफ्रीका में इट एंटर्ड फ्रॉम द ईस्टर्न पोर्शन एंड अफ्रीका इज ह्यूज माइंड यू ओके अफ्रीका में in the 1880s in the eastern portion it is where it has entered but it spreads like a forest fire so much so that in 1892 it had already reached the Africa's Atlantic coast and it also reached Cape, which is like Cape Town, you know, right? The southernmost tip of Africa in the next 5 years. मतलब इस स्पीड से स्प्रेड हो रहा था कि कुछ कहना ही नहीं था. But what was the problem? It's not that the animals were just falling sick. The bigger problem was that these animals, they got wiped out. They were getting killed. 90% of them were gone. 90% of the cattle were gone. अब ये क्या रिजल्ट करेगा बच्चे नेचुरली पीपल विद द लैंड एंड द लाइफ स्टॉक हु हैड एनफ टू लिव एंड सर्वाइव देयर लाइव्स विल नॉट हैव एनफ एनी मोर द पीपल हु लॉस्ट दीज कैटल्स एंड 90% कैटल्स कैन यू इमेजिन इफ लेट्स से आई हैड 500 cows and buffaloes what would I be left with? I would be left with maybe 10, 15, maybe. Otherwise, even that was gone. That was the state of the entire nation. So now these Africans, just to earn their livelihood, just to be able to survive, what will they have to do? They will have to now work. Okay, the loss of the cattle will destroy everything that they had, their livelihood, their support system. So now we will see that the people who were plantation owners, the people who were owners of different mines, the colonial government, they will now very easily be able to push these people who were out of food, out of money, out of cattle anymore, and will in fact monopolize whatever little bit of resources would be there, which is so sad. Which means whatever little bit of cattle were left, they said we'll take care of it, give them to us, and they now started strengthening their power and their presence and forced these Africans to now work in the labor market. That go work as a construction worker, work as a laborer, pick things up, be a mason, build the railway track. Okay? And we see that this is how they started controlling everything that they had been longing for. And they finally, the European powers will be able to kind of conquer and suppress and undermine African spirit, which they had for a good amount of time not been able to do. So we see that similar kind of results have of the various Western conquests in other the parts of the 19th century has been there. Africa suffered one of the worst of those. Okay? So that is what rinderpest was. Okay. So I've already explained this to you that the disease had significant impact and Africa had plentiful of land with very less population. So Europeans, they were drawn because of this. Like, they did not have workers. So labor shortage was an unexpected problem and constantly a problem. So they started changing inheritance laws and imposing a lot of taxes. And then comes the rinderpest, which will destroy 90% of the cattle. And the destruction will leave everyone devastated and then forced to work with the European powers as laborers. So here comes our next question. In the late 1880s, which disease arrived in Africa? We've actually done this, but then again, no problem. Smallpox, rinderpest, measles, or fever. 1880s, late 1880s के अराउंड कौन सी डिजीज है जो आती है अफ्रीका में? So as I told you guys, this is a question that we have already done, however, and this is also a portion that we have already done. ठीक है? Gaurangi, if questions are coming on your screen, that's a good thing, right? Or is it not coming? You've written that the questions are coming on my screen. Not coming. Can you just quickly refresh? एक बार log out करके log in कर लो फिर से. So, Tushant, Pratik, Rudraksha, student, very good. Rinderpest is the correct answer. Now, talking about what else was going on, a little bit of India and what other things were there. So, let me explain to you what do you mean by endangered labor. Endangered labor basically refers to contractual labor. When I did nationalism in India, I had explained you back then also that just like what problem Britishers, Europeans were facing in Africa, which was a shortage of labor, this is a problem which has kind of existed everywhere wherever colonization has happened, including the ones with Britishers. So when Britishers came to India they did not face the same problem. We have always had like a large population and people were ready to work. So this problem got sorted, but there were more than number of people required. So what they started doing was they started signing a contract with some of the laborers, promising them good return of money in return, like way much better wages, which could help them improve the living standard of their family and solve a lot of problem. All they had to do was sign up a contract and go to these plantation sites in different nations or in different parts of the nation to work for the Britishers. So it was like a bonded labor. You have signed a bond under which the employer will get you for a specific amount of time. It's a proper contract कि कितने दिन के लिए काम करोगे, आपके आने जाने के पैसे वो देंगे to the new place. And it was actually told, why did people sign up for this? People signed up for this because it was actually told to them that it will help them earn like a lot of money. So naturally, out of the greed to get out of the poverty, the poor situation that they were in, a lot of people did agree. So endangered migration जो है laborers का वो India से भी हो रहा था and it was happening from different parts of the world. It will show you the two different sides that existed back at that time in general in the entire world. ठीक है, जहाँ पे कोई बहुत ज़्यादा prosperous है, somebody who's very prosperous like Britishers, others are suffering in such a big like others are suffering in a big time and in such adverse manner that it cannot really be described. So it was like a world of faster economic growth where people were growing and things were traveling, capital, labor, everything. But it was also a world of great misery for few. कुछ लोगों के लिए जहाँ पे दुनिया बढ़ रही थी, कुछ लोगों के लिए दुनिया जो है बहुत ही बुरी बन रही थी. Where people were getting good amount of incomes, a lot of people were getting prosperous and rich. Some were only getting poorer and poorer, or even just to get out of their poverty, struggling a lot. Technological advances in some of these areas we see has happened, whereas we see that in some places people were being forced to do what they did not want to do, right? So what will happen in the 19th century, you guys, is that a lot of Indians and Chinese people, the laborers, will be sent out by the colonized powers by signing a contract into various plantations and mines, in construction of roads and railways to do the labor job. Some of it was in the nation, some of it was out of the nation. ठीक है, तो इंडिया में भी ये सेम चीज हो रहा था कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में लोगों को बोला जा रहा था कि ओके यू विल गो टू दिस प्लेस, विल गिव यू द टिकट, विल प्रॉमिस योर रिटर्न टू इंडिया, यू हैव टू वर्क देयर फॉर 5 years as in the plantation in decent condition and a good chunk of money will be paid to you. So with this, go ahead and sign the contract. Now, naturally, people did started signing the contracts because they were under the impression that it will actually help them. So we see that now a lot of people from all around the world and different native countries had come to these plantations. ठीक है, ज्यादातर हम देखते हैं कि इंडियन endangered workers जो है बच्चे, they used to come from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, places, Tamil Nadu, ठीक है, places in general which was not very rich in natural resources otherwise, or in general had employment problem, वहां से लोग आते थे, ठीक है. और मिड 19th सेंचुरी में they went through all kinds of changes, right? We saw decline of the small scale cottage industries, we saw rents rising, we saw taxes being imposed, we saw that lands were forests were being cleared for mines and plantations. So a lot of things were happening, and all of it was affecting the life of the poor. The way they had figured how to just keep running their livelihood was getting impacted. जो उनका एक status quo था वो disturb हो जा रहा था. So they were not able to pay, and they were asked to pay taxes and revenues and rents and whatnot. So they were suffering. Rent की problem होती थी. They were not able to pay the taxes. So they were under huge chunks of loans. So as a result of which, in order to get out of these loans, they felt that they needed a source of money which was quick, which would bring them a lot of things. So they easily agreed to these contracts. So normally where the people from India would go to as migrants would be Caribbean islands, in the one that we are talking about in terms of what do you say, Caribbean islands in America के side पे, तो आपका Trinidad, Guyana actually, ठीक है, Guyanese, yes, Suriname, then Fiji was one country. आपने पढ़ा हुआ है, right, कि फिजी में जो इंडियन फिजियंस हैं उनको बराबर वोटिंग राइट्स नहीं दी जाती थी नेटिव फिजियंस के द्वारा. क्यों? इतने सारे इंडियन फिजियंस कहाँ से आ गए? All of them have come because they came as endangered laborers and they stayed back there, right? There are a lot of people, in fact, also went to Ceylon. Ceylon is like the old name of your this thing, Sri Lanka. ठीक है, तो तमिल माइग्रेंट्स जो हैं वो श्रीलंका जाते थे, आपका मलेशिया जाते थे, मलाया, all of these places. ठीक है, a lot of people were also recruited to work in India's plantations of Assam. We have read about the plantation workers जिन पे इमिग्रेशन एक्ट लगाया गया था. ठीक है, तो ये सारे चेंजेस, ये सारे शिफ्ट्स हम देखते हैं, जहां पे हम देखते हैं कि आई गेस यहां पे ना थोड़ा सा लेबरर्स वाली स्लाइड जो है वो मिस हो गई है. यहाँ पे सीधा ये आ गया है. लेट मी जस्ट क्विकली चेक. कोई नहीं, मैं लेबरर्स वाला खुद से ही समझा दे रही हूँ. द टेक्स्ट इज मिसिंग ओवर देयर, आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट. सो सच रिक्रूटमेंट्स यूज्ड टू हैपन. अब ये रिक्रूटमेंट कौन करता था? हु वुड डू दीज रिक्रूटमेंट्स? रिक्रूटमेंट्स वर डन बाय एजेंट्स. प्रॉपर एजेंट्स थे जो लोगों को ढूंढते थे गांव में जाकर के. दे वुड फाइंड हु वर द पीपल हु वर द बेस्ट टारगेट, हु कुड बी कन्विंस्ड. ठीक है, they would engage them with the employer, pay a small amount, show the contract, give big dreams. And these people used to come from the population of the same people, as in same village से एक agent बना दिया, same city से एक agent बना दिया, so that when if it's one of us telling us that, oh, you can do this, this is good, you tend to believe them, you tend to rely on them. So recruitment was done by these agents who would charge, a commission and good payment for getting these laborers to the employers. उनसे पैसे लेते थे. पैसों के लिए आप समझो लोगों को भेज देते थे. So कई सारे migrants थे who decided to go ahead and take up these jobs and contracts because poverty and oppression. तो इससे कैसे उभरेगा कोई? How do you come out of it? Right, so for this you needed these jobs. So they agreed that okay, fine, we'll go ahead, we'll work, we'll do whatever it requires to do. ठीक है. So we see that around this time, a lot of things were happening. Like these people were just trying to fight their condition and come out of it. And अब agents क्या करते थे? उनको temptation देते थे, false information देते थे कि अरे आपकी working condition बहुत अच्छी होगी, आपके घर वालों का यहाँ पे बहुत ध्यान रखा जाएगा. And they would not even provide the true information about what the final destination they were being sent to, how will be they traveling, सब झूठ बोल करके, all lies, what will be the nature of the work. And they would definitely not tell about the working conditions. It was told to them that, oh, working there would be like such a bliss, so good. So migrants would actually go and start on long sea voyages, not even being aware of what they were getting into. ठीक है, कई बार तो ऐसा भी होता था कि किसी माइग्रेंट को लग गया, उसने पहले बोला हाँ जाएगा, फिर मना कर दिया, तो दीज गाइज वुड इवन अबडक्ट देम, उनको किडनैप कर करके भी जबरदस्ती भेज देते थे। तो यहाँ पे आप कह सकते हो कि द स्कीम ऑफ प्लांटेशन एंडेंजर्ड लेबरर वाज लाइक द न्यू स्कीम ऑफ न्यू सिस्टम ऑफ स्लेवरी। इट कैन इजीली बी सेड दैट दिस वाज द न्यू सिस्टम ऑफ स्लेवरी, ठीक है। So when they would arrive on the plantations, they will find conditions which was definitely very, very adverse, very, very different from what had been informed to them. The living and the working conditions were harsh. There were no legal rights. There was like a lot of punishment. Working hours were crazy. No proper wages, and they were just like flogged and tortured. A lot of things. However, they figured a way of surviving. They accepted their reality. There was no way to come out from there. उनको पता ही नहीं है कि कहाँ है, यहाँ से वापस कैसे जा सकते हैं. They were stuck in there. So they would find a system to coexist together because there were people from all different kinds of places of the world. So a lot of times they would try to run into the jungles to escape from there. But if they did get caught, which they used to most of the times, they would suffer severe punishment, because the idea was also to set an example with the help of those laborers for others that don't dare do the same thing, otherwise see what can happen. So it was to make an example out of them. However, apart from that, others who were trying to make peace and just sustain there, just be there, they developed new forms of self identity, self expression, as well as collective expression. Yani ki I'm there as an Indian, but let's say you are there from Africa. अब हम कहीं पे करेबियन में काम कर रहे हैं, तो हमें क्या करना है? वी हैव टू you come from a very different culture, I come from a very different culture, languages are different, how do we stay together? We don't have any family, the conditions are adverse. So we will become friends, we will become families with each other. We will now evolve a new culture that will have some of your elements, that will have some of my elements, which will help us get through and survive through this phase. So they started blending in, all the different cultural forms, old, new, different places. जैसे कि ट्रिनिडाद में देखा जाता है कि एनुअल मुहर्रम प्रोसेशन निकलता था. Now मुहर्रम प्रोसेशन is something that normally the Islamic followers would do, right? But it was also transferred into a carnival called Hossein, जो कि आपके मतलब what do you say, मुहर्रम प्रोसेशन था, वो ट्रांसफॉर्म हो गया था एक बहुत ही राइटस कार्निवल में. लाइक इट वाज नॉट जस्ट मुहर्रम, बट इट हैड बिकम डिफरेंट थिंग्स फॉर अदर पीपल टू बी एबल टू जॉइन एज वेल, वेयर पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल रेसेस, ऑल रिलीजन, ऑल रीजन वुड कम एंड जॉइन. वैसे ही आपका अगर रिलीजन की बात की जाए, ठीक है, जैसे कि एक बॉब मार्ले ने शुरू किया था. बॉब मार्ले को सब लोग जानते होंगे, राइट? वी ऑल नो बॉब मार्ले. So there was this religion which is like for protest purpose, protest religion of your Rastafarianism. ठीक है, Rastafarianism, it was made very very famous by Bob Marley only, who is a Jamaican. ठीक है, ये reflect करता है क्या? That it shows the celebration of humankind, of being human. It had all kind of social and cultural links. From everyone with everyone, Indian migrants के लिए भी Caribbean में. Then there were different kind of music like chutney music that was popularized in Trinidad and Guyana, जो कि एक अलग contemporary conversion था endangered experience का from different culture. हर एक जगह का music art culture different है, but they had come up with something of their own. So this kind of cultural fusion एक जो है वो global part का हिस्सा बन जाता है, where people who were coming from different places in the adverse situation, in the difficult situation, they lost their original identity and characteristics, they forgot their original identity and characteristics, and they mixed up all that, some element of individuality that they had, and created a new culture altogether. And this is how they survived. This is what help them survive. So most of these endangered laborer, if you see, would stay on there, and with the help of these cultures till the contract ended, and they would then come back to their homes. And a large community of, we see that Indians, people from India, a lot of times even stayed back those in countries. इसलिए गायना में, फिजी में आपको बहुत इंडियन फैमिलीज मिलेंगी. जैसे कि आप कई बार देखोगे न्यूजीलैंड हो गया या और ऐसे कंट्रीज हो गए, इनमें आपको कोई इंडियन नाम वाला ओरिजिन का नाम का बंदा मिलेगा एंड यू विल बी परप्लेक्स कि ऐसे कैसे। जैसे कि मतलब वेस्ट इंडीज में आप देखोगे कि देर आर राम नरेश सरवन, तो राम नरेश सरवन कम साउंड्स वेरी इंडियन, बट हाउ इज दिस पर्सन प्लेइंग फ्रॉम वेस्ट इंडीज? बिकॉज दीज आर द पीपल ऑफ these migrants, of these laborers who went there and generationally they stayed there, and now this new generation has become a part of this place who descends from India. So 1900 से हमने देखा कि हमारे जो नेशनलिस्ट लीडर्स थे वो सिस्टम के बिल्कुल अगेंस्ट चले गए. इफ यू रिमेंबर, बाबा रामचंद्र, हु वी हैव रेड अबाउट इन नेशनलिज्म इन इंडिया, वाज वन सच इंडेंजर्ड लेबरर हिमसेल्फ. तो हम यहाँ पे देखते हैं कि 1900 से इस सिस्टम को बिल्कुल अपोज करना शुरू कर दिया गया था. हमारे नेशनलिस्ट कहने लगे कि दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली अब्यूसिव, दिस इज वेरी वेरी क्रूअल, एंड फाइनली 1921 इसको अबॉलिश कराया जाता है. बट ऑफ कोर्स उसके कई सालों बाद तक हमारे जो वर्कर्स थे, दे वुड डू स्टिल द लेबर जॉब्स ऑफ लिफ्टिंग अप लाइक कूलीज एंड यू नो लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. A lot of them stayed in Caribbean islands, became the minorities over there, suffered over there. ठीक है, ऐसे कई सारे लोगों को लॉस हो गया, वापस नहीं आ पाए, एलियनेशन फेस करना पड़ा, ऐसे कई सारे प्रॉब्लम्स उन्होंने वहां पे फेस किए, बट दे लिव्ड थ्रू इट एंड सर्वाइव्ड थ्रू इट. ठीक है, so this is what happened with these people. Now moving on, talking about the economy, like बैंक्स कैसे चलती थी, हमारे इंडियन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अब्रॉड में काम कैसे करते थे. सो इट्स अ स्मॉल सेक्शन, सो आई क्विकली जस्ट इंट्रोड्यूस दिस टू यू. सो बच्चे, अगेन एज आई टोल्ड यू, वर्ल्ड की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या थी? To grow crops, to have more and more, to have more and more production, to have more foods, to have more raw materials. But no matter what you're trying to produce, it will always require capital. अगर आपको कुछ भी प्रोडक्शन करना है, आपको कुछ भी नया चाहिए, तो आपको उसके लिए क्या लगेगा? आपको उसके लिए लगेंगे पैसे. अब ये पैसे कहाँ से आते थे? क्योंकि राइट फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग पीपल डिड नॉट हैव मनी, राइट? लेट्स से आई वांट टू स्टार्ट अ न्यू बिजनेस, दैट डजंट मीन आई ऑलरेडी हैव मनी इन माय पॉकेट. नाउ इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड व्हेन आई वांट to do that, I have banks to go and take loans from, but back at that time, where did people used to do that? तो ये जो बड़े बड़े लार्ज प्लांटेशंस हैं, ये उस समय बैंक्स, मार्केट्स, ये कहाँ से पैसे लाते थे? ठीक है, चलो जो रिच है वो रिच हैं, जिनका पहले से बड़ा बड़ा जमीन है, दे हैव ह्यूज पीसेस ऑफ लैंड, तो उन्होंने उसको बेच दिया, वहां से फिगर आउट कर लिया, वो सब समझ आता है. लेकिन जो छोटे पेजेंट्स थे, या जो छोटे छोटे आपके लोग थे, मतलब जो पुअर थे, जिनके पास बहुत पैसा नहीं था, how were they managing? The point is, how was the money flowing? Where were the people getting the capital from? Because we very well know that the farmers especially always need like a lot of money. So where were these people getting all of this money from? ठीक है, so that's what we are going to understand. So what we see happening over here is that there were bankers. Now guys, how we see banks today, it did not used to be like that. Even in today's date, you know, the local money lenders, they're kind of individual bankers only. What do? They bring their own money, lend it to people, charge a certain amount of interest, and that's how they operate, right? तो वैसे ही उस वक्त भी इंडिविजुअल बैंकर्स हुआ करते थे. जैसे कि आप नाम सुनोगे तो नटू कोटाई चेटियार्स, या फिर शिकारपुरी श्रॉफ्स. These were the people among the many groups of bankers and traders. They were majorly traders, rich people who had some fixed business, जो अपने पैसे को बैंक की तरह भी चलाते थे. They would finance a lot of exports in agriculture in your Central Asia, Southeast Asia. They were not just restricted to India, like huge portions of Asia they would cover. ठीक है, या तो वो अपने फंड्स लेते थे, या वो यूरोप के बैंक से पैसे लेकर के उन बैंक्स को ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट पे यहाँ इन्वेस्ट करते थे, प्रॉफिट बनाते थे, अपना लोन पे बैक करते थे, बाकी प्रॉफिट रखते थे. सो दे हैड अ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड सोफिस्टिकेटेड सिस्टम, जिससे वो मनी को ट्रांसफर किया करते थे, इस चैलेंज को एड्रेस किया करते थे. ठीक है, and they used to make this transaction of money even in large distances possible to be done very easily by developing this indigenous form of corporate organization, which was very similar to the banking system. तो उस वक्त बैंक एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं, एज एन इंडिविजुअल एंटरप्रेन्योर एग्जिस्ट किया करता था. और भी कई सारे इंडियन ट्रेडर्स और मनी लेंडर्स हैं जिनको हम देखते हैं, जो फॉलो करते थे यूरोपियन कॉलोनाइजर्स को. और जहां जहां वो जा रहे हैं उनके पीछे पीछे चले जाते थे. लेट्स जस्ट से इफ दे वेंट टू अफ्रीका, सो दे वुड realize that, oh, Africa mein there must be a lot of opportunities, let's follow them to Africa, we'll go and set up our organization and we'll put our setup over there so that we can do the trading with these people, right? तो आप देखोगे कई सारे हैदराबादी सिंधी ट्रेडर्स, ठीक है, ऐसे कई सारे लोग वो वेंचर करते थे यूरोपियंस के साथ साथ. वेर एवर द यूरोपियंस आर गोइंग, दे आर गोइंग अलोंग विद देम, बिकॉज वेर एवर दे आर गोइंग वहां पे पैसे जनरेट करने का ऑप्शन होगा. सो 1860 से हम देखते हैं कि काफी फ्लरिशिंग एक एम्पोरिया भी उन्होंने बना लिया था जो पोर्ट्स पे थे. अभी अभी आप देखो एयरपोर्ट वगैरह पे अभी भी व्हेन यू गो व्हाट यू सी, मनी एक्सचेंज सेंटर्स होते हैं. क्यों? तो वैसे ही उन्होंने सेंटर बना लिया कि यहाँ पे हम पैसे देंगे या हम लोकल सामान इम्पोर्टेड जो चीजें हैं क्यूरियोज हैं उनको टूरिस्ट्स को बेचेंगे, और ऐसे ही हम डेवलप करेंगे हमारे बड़े बड़े सेफ और मतलब in general people who are coming in will have a safe system that will be very well functional. तो इन्होंने अपना वहां पे एम्पोरियोस बनाया, वहां पे लोकल सामान बेचने लगे, इंपोर्टेड सामान बेचने लगे. कोई भी टूरिस्ट आता था तो उनको आराम से कुछ भी देना, टू मेक देम फील दैट ओ यू वेलकम, है ना, ये आप खरीद सकते हो. उसके साथ साथ अपना ट्रेडिंग भी शुरू कर रहे हैं, एंड दे वुड हैव द यूरोपियंस बीइंग फॉलोड सो दैट दे वर नेवर बिहाइंड ऑन दैट स्केल. ठीक है, तो अब इंडियन ट्रेड, कोलोनियलिज्म और ग्लोबल सिस्टम कैसे फंक्शन करता है, दैट विल गेट टू नो इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन. I'm gonna end this session over here, and we couldn't start with the interwar economy because this was like a bit long to explain, but it doesn't matter. Interwar economy will carry forward in the next session and see what happens to it. So let's quickly answer one last question. The Indian bankers who played a significant role in financing agricultural exports in Central and Southeast Asia, who were they? Roy's, the Hyderabadi Sindhi, the Shikhapuri shops, or Paul's? Okay, and the correct answer would be the Shikapuri shops. Now, one very important information, you guys. From next week onwards, the timing of your classes are changing. Instead of 5, we'll be starting at 4 because generally we have faced this problem that the sessions get prolonged a little and you continuously have sessions. So you guys are not able to, go back on time and join the other sessions that you have to. So we, in order to address that problem, अब आपके sessions will be like at 4 to 5, तो थोड़ा extend भी हुआ तो that time is there. Then second session will start at 6, then 6 to 7 it will go on. थोड़ा सा extend हुआ तो again it will be managed over there, and then the last session will be at 8. ठीक है, so this is how we are going to manage. So we've actually not done this. In short, I will summarize what we have done, and in the next session we'll see what was the interwar economy. तो हमने आज ये देखा और समझा that how people were basically financing the entrepreneurs, were financing their trade internationally, how the endangered migration was happening, how it was taken as the modern way of slavery, how people fought with it. And we also discussed about the rinderpest, which forced the Africans to lose their 90% of cattle. It may in fact have been a what do you say, agenda pushed by the Europeans to get the Africans to work as laborers, but this is what had happened. So these are the things that we have done. Now, what was the interwar economy? How did we plunge? How did we recover? Will be discovered throughout the upcoming sessions. Do not forget to practice the questions and explore all the various applications that we have over here. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of the session. Thank you so much everyone. If you have any question, do feel free to get it clarified. Otherwise I'm going to end the session. Thank you so much everyone. Have a great evening. Good night. Take good care of yourselves. Bye bye. Ciao. Till the next time I see you, take good care of yourselves. Stay tuned and keep imbibing. Hi Damodar, Ishan Gupta, Shonika, Shivam, Harit, Manya. Good evening, guys. Welcome to the session. Hi, good evening, Harit. Good evening, Shivam. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I'm guessing everyone is here. We're ready to get started. बच्चों ये बता दो, तुम्हें पता है ना नेक्स्ट वीक से तुम्हारी क्लास की टाइमिंग्स जो हैं वो अपडेट हो रही हैं. जस्ट इन केस तुम्हें नहीं पता हो तो प्लीज मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट. योर 5 PM क्लास विल नाउ बी स्केड्यूल्ड एट 4 PM. ठीक है, 4 बजे से होंगी तुम्हारी क्लासेस, ताकि जो है गैप आ जाए थोड़ा बीच में 1 घंटे का, सो दैट इट्स नॉट बैक टू बैक. And just, even if it's getting a bit extended, it's not a big problem for you guys, and that you're able to easily join this next session with a proper gap. So let's just say 4 to 5:15, 5:30 तक भी आपका सेशन होता है, तो आप आराम से 6 o'clock पे अपने सेकेंड सेशन को विद प्रॉपर ब्रेक यूल बी एबल टू ज्वाइन. ठीक है, शौनिका अभी फिनिश किया है, कोई बात नहीं, कर लिया है वो अच्छी बात है. ठीक है बच्चों, हैव यू मेड अ नोट ऑफ इट? एंड 6 PM सेशन विल हैपन एट 6 PM. और फिर आखिरी वाला जो आपका 8 बजे होता है, नहीं 7 बजे होता है, वो 7 बजे होगा. ठीक है जी, ऑल क्लियर? Yeah, perfect. So I just, and this is for across the subjects in general, जो slot है उसमें differentiation आ रहा है. तो आई जस्ट होप दैट यू गाइज कल नेक्स्ट वीक से थोड़ा मतलब नया शिफ्ट होगा तो ध्यान नहीं रहेगा, तो थोड़ा सा ध्यान रख करके कर लेना. ठीक है, जस्ट मेक अ नोट ऑफ द शिफ्ट दैट इज हैपनिंग इन द टाइमिंग. सो yeah, okay, chalo, let's get started. Just keep a check whenever you're registering for the upcoming sessions, what are the new things that's happening.